I want to look into the heart of a dancer. His movements have a magic mystery. He must have a message and a meaning, 'cause he's doing something to me. Please don't let the drum stop beating. I have to understand how he dances, our future and our destiny, and how we became part of this land. She's so la la la, la di ma boo boo. She's so la la la, la di ma boo boo. Yeah yeah yeah. She's so la la la, la di ma boo boo. She's so la la la, la di ma boo boo. Yeah yeah yeah. Shall I wear my darling go? Shall I wear my darling go? Yo. Shall I wear my darling go? Shall I wear my darling go? Oh, shall I wear my darling go? Yo yo yo. Shall I wear my darling go? Shall I wear my darling go? Yo yo.
Shall I wear my darling go?
Oh, shall I wear my darling go? Yo yo. Shall I wear my darling go? Shall I wear my darling go? Yo.
Shall I wear my darling go?
When you were just a witless child of wonder, he showed you the glory of his past, and he weaved for you a dance of the thunder that shook the mountains and the cracklands. You know he dances the children playing in the rubble. He dances the hollow victory, and he dances the powerful people ambushed by history. She's so la la la, la di ma boom boom. She's so la la la, la di ma boom boom. Yeah yeah yeah. She's so la la la, la di ma boom boom. She's so la la la, la di ma boom boom. Yeah yeah yeah. I want to look into the heart of a dancer. Empty room. They say that four walls do not a prison make, and I'm trying to find a way out. There seems no escape. But I feel the hidden power lies inside your sound. blowing like a lonesome train, I reach out and touch you, I call your name. When the night is lonesome and I feel the coming day, I reach out and touch you, I call your name. I call your name. I call your name. I call your name. Oh no, you let the sun go down. I'm so low, feel underground. No easy road, no easy way to say the things you know I have to say. Time is a distance, distance is a space. I've come so far to find you, it's you I can't replace. When I feel the hidden power lies inside your sound, ghost inside the attic, spinning round and round. A magic ancient world, something you can't explain. You just have the feeling of the sun inside the rain. When the wind is blowing like a lonesome train, reach out and touch you, I call your name. When the night is lonesome and I feel the coming day, I reach out and touch you, I call your name. I call your name. I call your name. I call your name. Thank you very much. I'd like to play you the first single we released in America as Savuka. It's a song called Take My Heart Away. And it's a song really that was inspired by a reference that I read, a book by Krishnamurti. And he quotes another Hindu chap. He says, you know, sometimes when you are looking for insight, it's pretty hard to get it if you are so focused on getting insight. And he says what happens is that the only insight you get when you climb to the top of the mountain is the one that you took up with you. This song goes a bit further and looks at the problem of being an entity that has a physical body with a limited time span, living in a material environment where everything every day is impinging on you, at the same time having a mind that is infinite, a mind that can think about the way it thinks about its thinking. So we have an infinite life mentally, but a very tortured material circumstance. And that is what is known as the human condition. So, from time to time, every human feels what the next song talks about, which is to be able to escape all those bonds and to become truly infinite. Take my heart away, 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 my heart away, take my heart away, take my heart away, take my heart away. Sound of wild geese calling, to be 10 seasons in a night, to dance the sun across the tides of war and peace, to put silence stained by crimes to fly. I want a heartbreak loose the wind, I want a heartbreak loose the wind, I want a heartbreak loose the wind. Oh, I want a heartbreak loose the wind. Take my heart away, 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 take my heart away. Shine like two desert stars, to see a life burning with a mission, to break the empty circle of living and dying, to leave a child with a vision. I want a heartbreak loose this wind, heartbreak loose the wind, I want a heartbreak loose the wind. Oh, the heartbreak loose the wind. Take my heart away, my heart away, take 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 my heart away, my heart away. Sing me the songs that won the battle. Sing me the first and the last man's glory. Sing me the songs that taste of freedom. Thread me through with your sacred needle. Yes, yes, take my heart away. Yes, yes, take my heart away. Yes, yes, I think that audiences generally in America are interested in more of the cultural dimension and then the activist dimension. They're interested in South African cultures, how they, traditional tribal cultures, because I draw on their music. In my day, being a cultural activist or culturally mixing things was in itself an activist undertaking because of the laws of cultural segregation. So
a lot of my songs draw on the inspiration from African or Zulu idioms, proverbs, worldview, and particularly the concertina and guitar music, which I incorporate into my mix. So people really enjoy that. They enjoy being exposed to those new sounds, to those new kinds of musical mixes, which are foreign to their ear, but they find exotic. I was more interested in Celtic folk music, Irish, Scottish, English folk music, traditional, and I think, from the bagpipes to the mandolin, Julian pipes, penny whistle, all of these very ancient traditional instruments, the knowledge of which was passed down, through the generations, plus all the traditional songs that were, hundreds of years old. I enjoyed that. I was a child that was really living like a gypsy. And what I enjoyed about these songs is the sense of continuity that they made me feel. That these songs never changed over hundreds of years. They were passed down because they were good songs. They were solid. Their sentiments were eternal, and they spoke to me. So they were also the only connection that I had to England, where I was born. But I left when I was 6 months old. So my father and my father's family, who I never knew until I was 21. It was just like a musical connection to that world that I enjoyed. Then I got into just normal folk music of the 70s. And then, Simon and Garfunkel, Cat Stevens, all the regular stuff that we all listened to in that period. I wasn't into rock music, and I wasn't into heavy metal or anything like that. Jethro Tull I enjoyed. Those were the sort of the music environment that I grew up in. Also songwriting, really supported songwriting. A lot of albums of singer-songwriters playing guitar, singing. Jody Mitchell. These were icons for me. I thought that they were fantastic. My mother works for the record company. She was also a cabaret singer. She used to bring home records from the record company. And she brought me back Pete Seeger, Music of the World. And I was dumbfounded because here was a man who was taking his banjo, traveling through Africa and India and Russia and Germany, and taking a song from each country and putting it on and learning it and say, this is cool, listen to this. And when I heard Zulu street guitar music in Zulu, it was Pete Seeger basically who's the role model that I had in my head, who gave me the idea that you can take a song that comes from another country, another culture, whose language you don't understand, but the melody and the cadence of the words and the arrangement of the song can still be beautiful and enjoyable. So that was a seminal influence. Just the idea, the possibility that it's possible. There's a guy, he recorded, he put the album out, people are buying the album. So I began to use a little home tape recorder and recorded the Zulu songs I learned, and sometimes recorded other street musicians to increase my repertoire of traditional Zulu music, and developed that. Then I met somebody who I really got on with. His name was Sipho, and we had a 15-year relationship both as a duo, then as Juluta. And I brought in the Celtic folk music that I loved so much, and we started to find this mixture, And that was a revolutionary moment for South African music and for South Africa.
I'm sitting on the top of Kilimanjaro. Oh, my heart is yearning like a candle burning in the night. Seasons keep on turning. It's sometimes hard to keep up the fight. I will climb ancient mountain. I will find the last flicker of the light. I'm sitting on the top of Kilimanjaro. Oh yeah, it throws me right down to the marrow. I'm sitting on the top of Kilimanjaro. Oh yeah, I can see a new tomorrow. What a strange, strange freedom. I'm only free to choose my chains. So hard not to weaken. Just give up and walk away. I will climb the ancient mountain. I will find that last flicker of the light. I'm sitting on the top of Kilimanjaro. Oh yeah, it throws me right down to the marrow. Oh, follow me up. I'm sitting on the top of Kilimanjaro. Oh yeah, and I can see a new tomorrow. Oh, follow me up. I'm sitting on the top of Kilimanjaro. Oh yeah, I cast away all my sorrow. Oh, follow me up. I'm sitting on the top of Kilimanjaro. Oh yeah, it throws me right down to the marrow. Thank you very much. The idea of mixing music and getting different genres of music to enter into a conversation, which we call in South Africa crossover music, is not my invention. It actually is there's a very deep hidden tradition of cultural mixing, even in a country that officially had apartheid, because it's in human nature. When you say, do not go over that line, they always wonder, what's on the other side? And so, amongst the tribesmen in the rural areas in Zululand, there was a group of tribesmen who left their traditional chiefdoms, the communal area, and they absconded. And they went and they found the absentee landlords who owned farms next to where their chiefdoms were, and they made a deal with them, and they said, we'll give you 6 months labor as rent. And the next 6 months, we'll go to Johannesburg and Durban, and we'll earn money. And so these group of people became a kind of a floating population who had no chief and didn't have an owner who lived on the property to actually control them. And they developed an idea, which was to find a third way through the jungle that was apartheid at the time. And what they did is they started to pull in different things from the urban, western, developed areas and from the traditional tribal areas. They began a tradition of mixing them. And they were called the Amaqaqa, these people. And a Qaqa means somebody with no fixed cultural address. Cultural driftwood. Somebody struggling with their identity, which is something we're all doing at the moment, especially when you're looking at globalization and being an American. How can you be a global American? What does that mean? But these were issues that were addressed in the late 1800s, 1884, 85, 1890, by these Amaqaqa. And they were the ones who developed the concertina tradition, the guitar. They took these Western instruments and they Africanized them. And when I first came across Zulu street guitar music, I was dumbstruck. They had changed the tuning, sometimes changed the strings around, developed different ways of playing them. And I realized I was looking at a genre of traditional guitar music that nobody really knew about, and I wanted to learn it. A Qaqa is a guy who wears a three-piece suit and car tire sandals. He says, I stand in two worlds, and I don't care if it bugs you, but I'm working out who I am. He joins a Christian church, not because he's fascinated by the gospel so much, but because he loves the music. So he takes the hymns, reconfigures them, and does Zulu war dances to them, which really upsets the Christians. And also upsets the traditional tribesmen, because they say, but these dancers already have their own songs. Why are you bringing Christian hymns to do war dances? Are you crazy? And they say, no, we're just experimenting. And then, because of the meter of the Wesleyan hymn, they started to change some of the steps of the war dancing to fit into this. These are the kinds of crazy things that the Amaqaqa did. They took fashion, changed it. They took cuisine, changed it. They introduced curry because they were living amongst the Indian community at times in Durban, and they brought curry into the Zulu cuisine at the turn of the century. So today when you go to have meat at a traditional homestead, you'll see curry, and they'll tell you, oh, this is Zulu tradition. It's not. Amaqaqa brought that in. And so a lot of the things that today we see as traditional are in fact not. They are the mixing of this third group of people looking for a bridge into the new world. And the concertina, for example, like the guitar, you can't play Zulu music on it. You have to take it to a migrant labor hostel, and for $10, you watch nervously as they dismantle the entire instrument and change all the buttons around so you can play Zulu music. So this concertina, if I lose this, we've got 4 songs we can never play again. So here also, these instruments were looked at as evil, culturally contaminating instruments because they were changing the music and the traditions that people loved so much, and they were forcing them to shorten the verse, expand the chorus, do this, do that, change the key. They did all those things. And so these instruments were looked down upon. And the Christians particularly didn't like the concertina. They called it Izimbambo Eziga Satan, which means Satan's ribcage. Because it's like a little breathing animal. It's got bellows. Can you imagine getting that at 12 o'clock at night on your phone? So this is also an instrument that was the favorite for what they call walking songs. These are rhythms of cyclic rhythms of melody and rhythm that you repeat. And it's a big wheel, and you get inside this wheel, and if you give yourself over to it, you will find that your journey is much shorter. And this song is called Emma Lonjeni. every day now when I wake up, you know I feel just a little bit stronger. Stir my coffee with the promise I'll find you, although I know the road is much longer. How many nights I lie awake, feeling your footprints in my soul. How many miles will it now take to fill this cup and take me home? I don't know where you are, my eyes are fixed upon your star. I know that at the journey's end I will see your face again. Della aspetterà, siamo malocce. Della aspetterà, siamo malocce. Della aspetterà, siamo malocce. Della aspetterà, siamo malocce. Another highway, another mile, through the dream time, down the Nile, under the desert sky blue. I have a picture of loving you. How many nights I lie awake, feeling your footprints in my soul. How many miles will it now take to fill this cup and take me home? I don't know where you are, my eyes are fixed upon your star. I know that at the journey's end I will see your face again. Della aspetterà, siempre malocce. Della aspetterà, della aspetterà, siempre malocce. Siempre malocce. Della aspetterà, della aspetterà, siempre malocce. Siempre malocce. Della aspetterà, della aspetterà, siempre malocce.
I've become very local in my own country. I work with local communities and schools. I do work with various age groups. I'm not involved in in huge global initiatives, and I really see my job as recording events and circumstances and things which intrigue me or worry me or make me laugh or somebody said to me the other day, he said, your records are actually a record of the times because they carry discussions and issues and things that affected you at the time, and it's interesting to see because we can see where there was a huge unemployment in South Africa. So I wrote a song called Work for All, which was demanding jobs for so it's like these little watermarks through time, and I've always done that naturally. I've never really thought about it, and it was quite strange hearing somebody say that to me, but technically I think they're correct. That's what I do. I tend to somewhere on any one of my albums you'll be able to find a song that speaks to an issue that was bugging me or interested me in that year that I wrote the album. And that's I'm also busy with a book, and I'm also busy with a musical based on my life story. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm involved with.
How did the musical come about?
My producer and publisher said, there's like all this. There were 22 songs that he picked out. He said, if you look at the way these songs run, they tell your story. So let's build your story around the songs and see how it works. We've just finished the second lot of auditions. Hopefully we'll have our first run in December.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Afrika bukhala bangcwele wema Afrika bukhala bangcwele Afrika bukhala bangcwele wema Hallelujah Hallelujah Rain falling like a symphony on the rooftop of my heart. There's a movement in the silent deep. Before this big dream starts, I see your eyes shining like a neon light. You still smiling in the dark. Ooh, what made you so strong? What made you so strong? We'll be walking in a marketplace, you buy political regrets, and you've been walking on that water again. You know your feet never get wet. You just said, Afrika bukhala bangcwele, Afrika bukhala bangcwele wema, Afrika bukhala bangcwele, Afrika bukhala bangcwele wema. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Say a prayer for the innocent one. Say a prayer for our love. I say a prayer for peace on the earth, for the daughters and the son. While your life unfolds like a cheap street fight, you still smiling in the dark. Ooh, what made you so strong? What made you so strong? I've been waiting all my life for this, to see how this deal goes down. There's an AK-47 on the dashboard. You know,